We've had a doozy of a day.
A real doozy.
There we were.
Yep.
Minding our own business.
Yep.
Making some improvements to my new house.
To the new house?
When all of a sudden, out of nowhere...
She just smiled and held my hand.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Geeked on Big Brother. I'm Shannon.
And this is Keith.
And we are here to talk about another week in the Big Brother house. When we left, the Big Brother contestants, they were competing for an HOH.
Yep.
And they were doing a puzzle. It was
Building a fire hydrant.
Building a fire hydrant. Is that a 3D puzzle, I guess it's called?
Yeah.
And at the very end of the episode, it looked like Memphis was ahead. I mean, I said to Keith, I think
Far
Memphis was
ahead.
ahead, like far ahead. And, yeah. So...
And that's pretty much how it went.
And it looks like he buzzed in once and missed something, and then he went back and he buzzed in again and he got it right. So Memphis was the HOH for this week.
And Memphis being Memphis with his second HOH, he had a target in mind. Yes, it's still David.
David. Yep.
But he wanted to go the backdoor route.
Which I'm not 100% sure why. And I don't know why you would do a backdoor route and not talk to anybody about that. Like, why... He didn't tell them who he was going to put up. I mean...
That's the only part that didn't make sense, is why keep everyone else in the dark.
Right.
Especially since he's actually putting a committee member at risk.
Is
But
he?
no matter which one he didn't nominate...
He's not putting a committee member.
Well, no. If David wins POV
Right.
and uses it,
That's true.
a committee member's going on the block.
Right.
If Devon won POV and used it, David goes on the block. Whichever one was left off the block, though, is a risk to a committee member going up.
But not really.
But kind of.
But not really, because they still had the numbers. So, and why they were one freaking out that he didn't tell them who he was going to nominate. I mean, there were three choices here.
Right.
He was going to nominate one of the three, two of the three. Why freaking out about that? Why do you need to know? But two, why didn't he tell them about his backdoor plan? This is like he didn't tell them about the backdoor plan the first day. His first time who he wanted out, really.
Right. I don't
know.
think we're at a point where it's as simple as numbers, but
No,
I'm going to digress from
Anyway,
that.
yeah. Anyway, anywho, so he nominates Devon and Kevin.
Yes.
Daggone it, Kevin keeps getting put on the block, and Kevin. But he does keep winning me points, so there's
True.
that.
And Memphis keeps telling him he's going to be safe. And
Yeah.
It's worked out that way so far.
It has worked out that way so far.
We'll see what happens. We know what happens this week. But we got our nominees. Time to play POV. Devon gets a chance to choose her house guest
Yeah.
that
That's good
plays.
choice.
Kevin gets a chance to choose who plays. And who's sitting on the sideline at the end of all this?
David.
David.
And it's hard not to feel bad for the guy, because he did vote the way that he said he was going to, that he was so passionate about doing, at least in his diary room, was super passionate. He wasn't as passionate in the house about it. But he did stick his neck out for that. And then basically Nicole and Danny lied and sunk him. And then the thing that I didn't understand about the POV choices, I understand that they had the conversation and Devon told Kevin, you need to do this. But I don't understand why Kevin, because it was not actually in Kevin's best interest for Danny or Nicole to be playing in this veto.
Not.
Because
they would save
Devon. And I guess he was just thinking, well, maybe I have a better chance against David. And I don't necessarily think that was true.
Well, it hurts me less against David.
Right. At least a chance for us both to stay in the house.
Right.
So they play the POV. And it was Seeing Bot.
Yes, it was Sigma, Tiger Sing, POV.
Yeah.
Before the POV, Memphis reveals his plan to everyone.
Yeah.
And says, let one of us win it. Either me, Davon, or Kevin.
Right. Throw it.
Just throw it and let one of us win it so that David can go on the block. And Tyler said no.
Right. And he...
Well, he didn't say no, but that was the decision he made. So Tyler went all out on this one.
Yeah, and that was pretty obvious when the scores came back,
Yeah.
and Tyler slaughtered them all.
Yes.
So Tyler had been laying groundwork prior to this, with Memphis, that there's something funky about the way that Kevin and Davon didn't pick David. They picked Nicole and Danny. And doesn't this mean that they're probably aligned? They've got some kind of side game going on. And he's able to use that later in the week when Memphis is ticked that Tyler won.
Sure.
Because he clearly didn't even try to throw it. It wasn't an accident that he won this.
Okay.
And I think he's able to sway Memphis around. Of course, Memphis didn't really have a choice, right? What choice did he have?
Well, I don't know that it was completely Tyler. There is another player who had a big hand in making sure that the eviction went the way it was, and that was Danny.
Danny, yeah.
Whether intentionally or not.
Right.
Danny made the decision who went home this week in the worst possible way.
Right. She said, I told you not to use... come on.
Okay. Yeah, Danny and her, I'm so brilliant.
Nobody ever listens to me.
But, obviously Tyler does not use the veto.
Yeah, he doesn't use it.
So David's safe. It comes down to Kevin and Davon. And Danny has this beautiful way of just sinking Davon. And in fact, it started at the very beginning with the lie about David's vote.
About David's vote.
And that's
from the week
how
part.
Davon ends up sunk.
Yeah.
If Davon hadn't been lied to about that vote, she could have still been there.
Yeah, I
think if she trusted David, she could have still been there. But that's where we are.
So the votes come down, and Davon goes out.
Right, obviously.
Obviously.
Through the work of Tyler, and Tyler campaigning for her to go, and Danny campaigning for her not to go,
right,
leads to Davon's eviction.
Yeah. Danny, way campaign. Danny and Nicole, both,
right.
Just not. Yeah.
I always forget Nicole's in this game because she's not really in this game.
Mm.
I'd take her to the end in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and I do think that's something that I did say to you at one point. I think now, for real, I would take her to the end.
Yep.
There is no way that she can win this. I cannot see how she possibly could win this. She's been drugged from the beginning to where she is now. She's lied and egregiously. I said, there's no point for this lie. Why are we doing this? Though I guess, I guess to save face, but if you're going to tell her in the end, before she goes to jury, and you're like, I've got to tell her before she goes to jury, I don't know if you're going to tell her.
It's a gross misunderstanding of how to communicate with people.
Well, and especially when she says, please, Davon spent a lot of time begging her to tell her the truth.
Right.
Which means Davon had to have known deep down that she already knew what the truth was.
She suspected, certainly.
Certainly, because why else would you ask? But she's like, tell me the truth. I don't want to look like an idiot. Well, I basically think she burned her bridge.
Oh, yeah.
With Davon, in the jury house.
Yeah.
So she burned her bridge so now Davon knows the truth. So now Ian's going to know the truth.
Right.
Why are you, I don't know. Of course, right. Ian knew the truth to begin with anyway.
So that's Nicole and her amazing gameplay.
Amazing. Take her to the end, folks.
Let's get a check-in on Fantasy Big Brother for the week.
All right, so for the week, I am in first place with 21 points, followed by you with 17, cool. Ost with 14, OCS Palm with 13, Kickle with 7, the Marley Jane with 5, Oh Hey Allison with 4, and Biddy Bum Bum with -4 points.
Well, long way to go still, but...
And you know, Biddy Bum Bum only has Nicole left. Poor Biddy Bum. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Biddy.
No, it's not laughing at you.
We're not laughing at you.
It's just a
We're
bad
laughing
situation.
at Nicole.
It's the draft, and
yeah, we
you
know
do
how.
what you do.
Yeah.
So
at the end of the episode,
lots of big news.
Lots of big news, and no HOH was played, so we won't see that until Sunday.
Right.
So at the end of the episode, Julie announces the neighbor twist and reveals the neighbor.
Which, okay, it was kind of obvious.
It was kind of odd, yeah. If you had to choose anyone, it was, yeah. It makes sense. It was
going to be the guy that's been on every season for a while, yes.
Yeah, well, yeah. And Keith had said, well, he's got no horse in this race. So if it was going to be anybody from Big Brother, it made sense. He doesn't have anybody left in the house, you know. He did know. He has a personal
right,
he has a personal. He did know, of course, Janelle, you know, and Kaser, but you know, and I'm sure he knows these people, but he's not backing them like Dan or you know, Derek.
Yeah, we had to eliminate Dan and Derek's possibilities because they both have friends in the house.
And who doesn't like a dose of Will, you know, his I don't know what the word to say, but his demeanor and his willness.
Yeah. Classic Big Brother, all wrapped up in a human persona.
So after the episode, I did read some of like an EW article that Will had come out and talked a little bit about the twist, and he is going to be there all week. There are going to be lots of prizes. There are going to be things that are going to shake up the game. He says it's going to be major, but of course that's what he would say.
But that's what you want.
Yeah, and that's what we want, and I think that's what production wants.
And you want Will to shake up the game. I mean,
yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, especially with the prizes, and I'm assuming punishments maybe, or powers. You know?
I don't think punishments. I think it's going to be prizes.
Yeah.
Because this is all about Will, and it's that flashback to Will and his love of prizes.
Him and Boogie.
Oh my God, that competition where they were buried in the
it was in All Stars,
taking all the prizes,
just taking all the prizes, and laughing and having a great time.
Yeah.
Oh man. The other big reveal was that this is a triple eviction week.
Ooh, scary.
Triple eviction.
They're always nightmares.
No, double evictions are nightmares, but triple evictions, good God help us.
Well, no, triple evictions, yeah, they're worse, but they're the nightmare because no matter how well you plan, something's going to go wrong.
Well, and I had talked to you a little bit yesterday. No matter what, somebody from the committee is going.
Right, absolutely.
So even if they stay true to form, and I don't think they will. I think they will through the first vote, probably.
No, the second they hear triple eviction, it becomes a shots fired situation.
You think they're going to announce it before the first vote or after?
I assume that they will announce it after the vote.
I think they'd have to, wouldn't they?
The problem is who's sitting out at triple eviction. That's going to be a huge factor. Now, it's not going to be Memphis, probably, right? I mean, he's HOH now. He was HOH the previous week.
Right, but we do know that Danny has the power and could allow Memphis to play again, to play in this current HOH.
That's true. So, really, anyone could be sitting out come Thursday.
Right.
And that's a terrifying thought to have one shot to save yourself. Plus, triple evictions usually end with a save vote, not an eviction vote. 3 people nominated, vote to save one person. Whoa. How the committee chooses it here becomes really, really important.
Well, I think it's interesting because we haven't to this point. I know we kind of talked about not talking too much about the committee, but they haven't seen to this point what exactly their side align, like where they're trying to follow. We do know that this week that we're discussing, Memphis made a deal with Enzo and Cody and Enzo and Christmas,
right,
to try to get a 3-pack to the end.
Right. Basically, Memphis tried to pick up a deal with the only person who's not in the committee, right?
Right. Enzo's not in the committee.
Right. And also 2 other committee members, only in 2 3-packs.
Yeah. 3-packs, yes. That was confusing.
To try and leave himself room to crossfire if he has to. Because he has to leave himself room to take Cody if the opportunity comes.
Well, absolutely. But it also says he doesn't want to align with Danny, he doesn't want to align with Nicole, or he doesn't want to align with Tyler.
And I don't blame him for those
And I don't blame him for that either. It also says he wants to sit next to Enzo at the end.
I think that's a great choice.
I think it's a great choice.
Enzo or Nicole, it's a great choice.
Yeah.
All Enzo has to fall back on is, I'm a likable guy. You know, I'm a fun guy to hang around with right now. Just like the last time Enzo played.
Absolutely.
Enzo was convinced he would have won that Brigade season. The fact that Lane didn't win that season kind of tells me that it was going to be Hayden no matter what.
But I think by Memphis doing this, that maybe this will protect him through the triple eviction.
I think he's got the votes to stay. I think he's got the votes to save himself if he ends up there, unless he ends up there with Enzo.
Yeah, it just obviously it depends on who wins. I think Danny, if Danny wins one of them, if Danny wins them, one of them.
Yeah.
And gosh, who does she go after? I'm fairly certain Tyler's going to go after Danny.
I'm fairly certain Danny's going to go after Tyler.
So
that doesn't mean either of them are going to hit.
Right, that's right. And I think the guys will vote to keep. They want to keep Tyler. As long, it depends on who they're up against, obviously, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And like freaking thank you. I mean, good for them. It's a good strategy, and it's gotten them this far. But it can make some boring TV.
Well, I mean, David and
David has kind of saved this
David
season.
and Kevin are still alive at this point.
Yeah.
So, going into that triple eviction, we don't have a clue what's going on.
We have no clue.
So, but, I mean, bare minimum, one of those guys survives.
That's true.
And one of those guys could shake up the entire game if they can put together an alliance.
One of those guys could be the piece that is needed to move forward, too.
Right.
And then, which Tyler has seemed to solidify himself with David by not playing this veto. And they were aligned before, even though David tried to vote him out last week. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, so much unpredictability.
Yeah.
And not knowing enough right now to even clear the waters any.
Right.
So, we're looking forward to it. I assume you guys are too. If there's something we missed this week, drop us a comment. Or if you have some insight into where we're heading in this triple eviction, we'd love to hear that too. But don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll be here again next week.
All right. Have a great week, guys. Here's your reminder.
Be excellent to each other. And
Game on! Game on! Game on!